what colonization did was set up fake hate to stay real frustration, real hurt conviction natures, blaming it on all else and on others. Every group that wants to ask for rights as an individual group, it's because they're breaching roles, tools. In other words, we had black rights, Native American rights, tactically ulterior from the shared rights that we have by the space nature science. That science is not left voice. That science is not left voice too. And so that's going to be blamed on others. We have to blame the formal stewards for that. We have recorded doctors tied to courts and prisons and interbranch actors with roles with crimes against kids, against women, while pretending to be for that. We have sequence shift crimes. We have database crimes with our branches tied to their roles with the campuses. Criminal. We have their roles with the 9/11. They faked witness fabrications. They faked leading up to that with a Scalora family, a DeMoro family. Same people tied to rackets with the campuses. CCSU, two Joe DeMoros, a Heather Hansen. Same people tied Town Line Road, rackets with the police, internation doctors, drug cliques, internation police here. Scalora family. They don't know me. They're recording it through time, pretending to know me 10-face. Just yelling out things online and stuff like that, pretending they know me in real life. I did that when I was a kid in Glastonbury High one time. That's what they do. And then years later, they pretend they know you because they're stacking databases with illusions tied to how they exploit reactions relationship to interbranch families at little levels and at bigger levels. So we have judges recorded switching names, switching sequences, evidence this crimes roles, with state's attorneys switching names, switching sequences, evidence fabricated against innocent people, hiding their roles with drug cliques, with doctors tied to courts, covering up their lie progressions by hurting innocent people, putting lies in databases, faking names, forging names, doctors tied to courts, judges also hiding this with them. They have no credibility. They know that. It's recorded. They're pretending it's recorded. They're not letting police reports take it. They have these they forget about it. Respond right here. Some Weathersfield police involved with internation police here, involved with some child predators, not just with the DeMoro family, and with men and women intercity through time complain about them, and other police, court police too, court police intercity tied to the campuses, database illusion stacking, a Dean Alford, Dean Jones switching names. Let's go. Let's get a response. They put me in fake conversations. They tied to untimely deaths and all these conversations from students that I didn't know affected to confessions to me related to this. Untimely death on Trinity campus tied to my neighbors here who were associated with the campus. At the time, with others, like tied to the DeMoro conversations that he told them about. I don't only know them through him. In other words, these are federal criminals associated with them with cases, proven, with pension thieves and stuff like that, drug cliques with the police and with the courts, one-way reports. So, in other words, they're telling the kids to blame slavery and those crazy things on other than it was. They're tactically, consciously, that's pseudo-education. Now they're teaching the kids not to correlate, and they're teaching hate. and which is justifiable, because I mean, if I was, we all were slaves, because our founders were slaves. Our founders were fact treatment nature slaves, chained to avert worse forms of it. So when the past played out, this racket would be entertained, which we can't entertain it. In other words, if there's a white movement, that's because there's no science demonstrating how their opinions are predatory and unconstitutional against other people. Not because they're prejudiced. See, they play games, little knaves, where we need sophistication. We have interbranch predators, and we need them, and we have intermilitary predators too. Evidence fabrication rolls through time, nature's through time, like a Paul Kelly. Let's go. Justin Klavinskis, let's go. Joshua Stryker, involved with confessed with the UPS corruption. Before I went to work there, the sequence shifts. Also with the Greek police exploiting women that he shares with federal criminals associated with UPS drug dealing. Also with Eric Oliveri, confessed, recorded, involved with the child predators in my area. Phil Cololo also. I never had a conversation with my life. One time there was almost looked like we were going to have one. And then there's another time, exception, but we never. In other words, the only exception was two, also tied to Two Rod Highway, and his roles with a Victorian house there. Also confessed and recorded, involved with probate court judges, family members, exploitations of the girls, sisters and stuff like that, and the neighbors of the house, and brothers, in other words. And with the houses in my area tied to the rape threats of little kids, with it was sex offender with the school, they hid. That was recorded. They hid that by saying I harassed him. When he called, when I had confessions about this from strangers with untimely deaths. Also that brought up the school. And the Scalora family also recorded and confessed involved with crimes with the police and with larceny in the area in intercity. And, you know, sequence shifts, they're not letting, the Scalora family was also recorded and confessed, involved with recorded and confessed Trade Center crimes with Manhattan. I don't know if it's how they're related or what. So this is with CCSU also. Recorded and confessed. Because the campus police are also in rackets with other forms of police, not just with criminal justice. They're with area crime rolls and lie progression cover-ups, tied to database crimes, tied to evidence crimes, tied to sequence shifts, that illusions they have to cover progressively, each other's and their own personal ones. So they need to pretend they believe things about the credibility of positions that is not existent. We have not had science speak for the kids. So they want, well, anyone can play a little fight game. That's the divide and conquer tactic. In other words, white power and all that stuff like that. Demonstrate science, how it thinks. Those aren't opinions that are honest and demonstrate. But we have dishonest, we have predatory glorifications of of original medical corruption tied to courts, original sick-natured courts, not let demonstrated. That's why they're sick, because they're breaking the rules, they're forging evidences, they're sequence shifting. And they're making up passions. They're fraudulent. This is recorded. Now, what they do? They don't respond, and they just keep stacking databases with illusions, spread rumors about people. But that's a form of hate, which is sicker than most killers, because they're using jails with it. We have Sandy Hook doctors and police forms and investigators with that, also recorded with crime rolls. With children's campuses, other children's campuses. We need to get them now. You see what I'm saying? We don't need BS theater anymore. We need to have real science now. We need to have our nation defended. And it's not going to work with the BS. Culture is nothing. There's one culture, is the Trinity, which is our nature's relationship to itself. And it doesn't work through pseudo-positive sides. It works as its own.